Hi, welcome to the NAB Show New York studio here in New York City. My name is Claire Placid, and I'm joined today by Ryan McGovern-Smith, the Director of Product and Program Management from TMT Insights. Hi, Ryan. Nice to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see a friendly face and be back in the city.
Thanks for coming into the studio today. Can you just tell me a little bit about TMT Insights?
Sure. So TMT Insights is a professional services company targeting the media and entertainment sector. We're primarily focused on designing, architecting, building, and deploying end-to-end media supply chains.
Okay.
So it's a mix of traditional consulting, C-suite, CXO advisory, strategic planning, obviously industry insights, complemented with tactical teams. So we have full stack development, DevOps. So it's not about just curating a statement of work. It's actually bringing that to fruition and delivering it back to the customer.
Okay.
Which is great. We've grown kind of organically. Everyone has a background in M&E, which is really advantageous for us.
Yeah.
A lot of the times you're looking at business generalists and people kind of appropriated from fintech or,
right.
it's our core team is about 10 to 25 years each in the M&E space. So I think that differentiates us. Our managing partners, Andy Schenkler and Hannah Barnhart, who you know, they've been champions and early adopters and really evangelists of what we might consider the current state of play that I think everyone is affectionately calling the media supply chain.
Right.
So cloud enabled, cloud first, highly automated, cost optimized. They've been doing this for years, and now we have it on offer for a wider audience. So it's been great.
Great. So you've told me some of your differentiators. What are some of the other main differentiators from some of your other competitors in this space?
Sure. I mean, we're a smaller firm. We're not the Accentures and Deloittes of the world. Not to denigrate those companies, wonderful organizations, but we're more specialists than generalists. We all come from, we have the scars. We're battle proven.
Right.
We've experimented and we've built enterprise platforms for so many years that when a customer comes to us, there isn't that 3 to 4 months of discovery and getting to know each other and learning each other's lexicon and looking through that rubric of understanding their business requirements. Typically, when a customer comes to us, we know exactly what they're talking about. We look at each other from across the room, our ears perk up because we've seen that before and we've gone left and right. We know what works and what doesn't.
Right.
So the time to market is really narrowed. There's usually this huge delta between ideation and business value, and we shorten that considerably. And that just comes from our domain expertise.
Okay. In the last 2 years, TMT seems to have really grown. What do you think has been the driver for that?
I guess so many influencers. I think the obvious impact, of course, was COVID and the health crisis. But the brickwork was already there for so many of the initiatives that got tipped over the line as a result, as a symptom of COVID being what it was. Transformation is a huge thing. There was a lot of ambiguity and red tape, and the needle that broke the camel's back, so to speak, to use a crude adage, was the pandemic, where everything had to be accelerated. And that's when our firm started. So there was this huge appetite to bring in subject matter experts that were third party that you could bring in sort of as mercenaries, as a tactical team to accelerate that and get you where you need to be. The consequences were high. The symptoms of that whole era were professional and existential. And I think, our team, especially Andy and Hannah and Christy Fung, Brett Beers, they came in with the solution right at hand. And no one could afford that 3 to 4 month window of figuring out what to do. Right. We had it in our pocket. We had it on offer. And then just the nature of the business, right? There's the space race to stand up streaming services everywhere. That's going to demand new content. So the push for new content at all-time high. You have to then localize that content.
Yeah.
There's this really wonderful campaign to localize the world and to push this content into every territory. So from there, you see joint ventures, spin-offs, and all these subsystems kind of aggregating and amalgamating. That's hard to do. It's a lot of chaos. We want to move that from complexity to simplicity to operationalized. And I think for TMT, that's what we do. We all come from major studios, content creators, vendorships, but primarily on the vendor side, we know what it's like to manage multiple customers and multi-tenant ecosystems. It's huge, and we've seen that, and we can bring it to our customers today.
Okay, great. So what do you think you will see from the business over the next 12 months then? So
one thing that we have, our already stood up, but it's ever evolving, is a SaaS product called Polaris.
Okay.
And it's essentially a single pane of glass that collects all these aforementioned subsystems into a single access point. And so you don't have to hop between different systems. Mm-hmm. We're working with great partners like RightsLine, Fabric, SDVI Rally, different workflow orchestration devices. But we're empathic disruptors, so we know what it's like to be an entry-level position all the way to the C-suite.
Right.
Sometimes these solutions are created that only service an army of developers. We're swapping out our digital media services technicians for developers, so it's still siloed. You solved one problem, but it's not totally transparent and available to the business. What we want to do is operationalize that, so every user in every division actually is a part of that dialogue and can touch everything that we used to do on-prem in a legacy fashion, but now through a cloud-enabled media supply chain. So we surface it through a pretty elegant solution we call Polaris. You'll be seeing more of that. It's pretty refined and elegant at this point, but we're going to bring it to market a little more aggressively.
Oh, I look forward to it. Thank you so much for coming into the studio today and telling me about it.
Thank you, Claire. Good to see you again.